233. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. Chapter 35, Stealth Mode. You know what they say? Why sit at a table that doesn't have key lime pie on it if you don't have to? By Sloane Crosley. Don't worry, I won't tell your boss you flipped to this chapter to read it first. Ever notice how some people seem to really get LinkedIn and their career transitions seem effortless as a result? Thinking about using LinkedIn for your next career change, but don't want your employer to know? Here are a few LinkedIn strategy tips for those of you seeking to use LinkedIn and you need to go into stealth mode. Now, this is just my fancy way of packaging up the tips in this chapter. There's not a stealth mode button anywhere on your profile, but that would be pretty cool though, right? First, let's talk about your connections. Consider your connections and who you really want to stay connected with at your current organization. If you're still working at the company, it might be poor form to disconnect from your boss and your coworkers. However, your boss might not even be active on LinkedIn, nor even notice it. Back in 2008, when I was using LinkedIn to make a job change, I disconnected from the president of my company along with my boss. Neither were active on LinkedIn, and neither would be individuals I would continue to keep in contact with after I left the company. When you disconnect from someone, they don't get a notification. They just simply no longer see your posts in their homepage feed unless a lot of people they're connected to are engaging with your content. And if they visit your profile, they would now see that they are a second level connection. Disconnecting helps to reduce the visibility for people seeing your LinkedIn activity. In my case, there was little to no risk. If you're worried that they may notice or disconnecting may set off red flags, don't do it. But I would visit their profiles and hit unfollow if you no longer wish to see their updates. But I would visit their profiles and unfollow if you no longer wish to see their updates. Next, let's increase the focus on your company on your profile. Look at all of your LinkedIn activities as a way to demonstrate that you are a positive brand ambassador for your company. Wait, what? You're thinking, right? Yes. Follow along with me on this. You can do this by, first, making sure your employer is linked on your profile, that you have a 1 or 2 sentence description of your company, a few sentences describing their products and services, and no more than 1 sentence about your role in your experience section. You can include your specialties in a keyword list, but make sure your experience doesn't read the same way as your resume. This is not a resume and not a time to be looking like you've copied and pasted your resume into a profile. That's a red flag. You can also like, comment, and share your company page updates at least once a week. Plus, you can review your contact info to make sure your company website is listed as one of the 3 web pages. You will have to give some thought to whether to keep your employer email as your primary email or change it to your home email. By changing it, you might alert people that you're considering making a move. Therefore, you may be better off leaving it as your work email, and if you happen to receive any inquiries to your work email, go to LinkedIn and reply to them from there instead. You can use your LinkedIn header image to support your company and its brand. Look like the best brand ambassador out there, and nobody will suspect a thing. Make sure your headshot photo is current and the best professional representation of you as well. And finally, like and comment on your coworkers' posts especially those in leadership positions or those who are super active on LinkedIn. Again, this is a threat. Again, this is a strategy to throw people off the chase because a person interacting with their coworkers on LinkedIn looks like a great online networker who is a huge brand and company supporter. Personally, I'd recommend you focus on people with large networks or those who may be connected to people or organizations you're targeting in your job search. First, think about this from the perspective of your coworkers. They see you stepping up your LinkedIn activity, and it makes you look like you are more, not less, engaged with the company. You are building brand visibility for your company, and thereby for yourself. Second, think about this from the perspective of hiring managers and people who could refer you to new positions. They see your activity and the fact that you are a rock star for your company. If you were a hiring manager, would you rather have somebody who is a positive brand ambassador, as can be seen by their current LinkedIn activity, or someone who is neutral or who seems desperate? I'd rather look at the rock star and try to lure them away, because if they are rocking it for my competitor, they will rock it for me too. Also, don't be obvious. Stop throwing off all those red flags. The first thing I notice for someone who is considering a job search is a flurry of new recommendations given to them in a short amount of time. What I recommend is that you are always giving and requesting recommendations, whether you're job searching or not. If you haven't had any recommendations in years, focus on giving a few in the next few months and requesting a new recommendation about every other month. Spread them out so it's not so obvious, and focus on giving recommendations. In addition, by no means should you ever post your resume as a PDF anywhere on your public LinkedIn profile if you're using the platform to find a new job while working. That's like leaving your resume on the copy machine at work. Awkward. Some other reminders. LinkedIn is not a job search website. It is a professional networking site. Let's say that sentence one more time. LinkedIn is not a job search website. It's a professional networking site. If you don't believe me, write that down and read it back to yourself again. Even if your conscious mind doesn't accept it yet, your subconscious will start to believe it and make it true by reading it. That's the same reason why I write affirmations on my whiteboard and I read them every day. My mind will find a way to make it happen if I believe it. Many clients I work with approach me because they are not at all active on LinkedIn, and now they find themselves in a situation where they need to use LinkedIn for a job search and they don't know where to begin. They are also hesitant to get active on LinkedIn because they don't want their employer thinking that they are job searching. Change your perspective, and the way that you use LinkedIn will change too. LinkedIn is not a job search website. It's a professional networking site that has some job search features. However, it's used more by working professionals who are not job seeking than it is used by job seekers. Yes, there is a job search board, but not everybody uses it. Yes, recruiters are searching profiles on LinkedIn, but it doesn't mean your profile will come up in their searches, even if you are qualified for the job and an ideal candidate. Simply having a profile and being active on LinkedIn doesn't mean you are job searching. If it did, then it would mean that there are 800 million plus people who are on LinkedIn looking for jobs. That's just not likely. Are you convinced that LinkedIn is not a job search site yet? Because it's not, really. I wouldn't lie to you. I want you to trust me. LinkedIn is a professional networking site, and I'm just glad that you're thinking about making a job move, and you're open to getting more active on LinkedIn, and that you're listening to this audiobook. I'm looking out for you, and I want to help. But if I do help you, I want you to promise me that you'll get active on LinkedIn and stay active long after you landed your next dream job. The best way to get started is to go slowly. This will help you and will also help you to build up your comfort level and confidence in that what I'm telling you is all true. So let's go slow. Here's what you're going to do. 1, connect with me if we're not yet connected on LinkedIn. I'll sprinkle LinkedIn tips into my timeline every day just for you. By connecting with me, my posts will start appearing in your homepage feed just like magic. 2, every business day, spend 15 minutes in your LinkedIn homepage feed. The first week or so, you'll just be reading posts, reading comments, reading articles. Reading is perfectly okay. Before we run, we have to learn how to crawl, right? This exercise will help you to get comfortable with how people are using LinkedIn. You'll start to notice what resonates with you and what doesn't. You'll start to notice posts that do really well and get a lot of likes and comments, and those that get a like or two and that's it, or those that don't get any likes at all. Keep doing this until you're ready to move on. Are you ready for the next step? This is going to involve action on your part, and it's going to increase your visibility. Both are good things. 3, every business day, scroll through your homepage feed and add a like to 2 to 3 posts. You can pick any 2 to 3 posts you want. Keep scrolling until you find them. Now, if this were me, I'd focus on posts that are getting a lot of engagement already, or posts made by people who can be resources to me during my job search. I like to build social media karma with people who can help me. 4, then pick one of those posts to add a comment onto using 5 or more words for your comment. It doesn't need to be anything too intellectual. Just pretend you're standing right next to the person and they read their post out loud. What would you say back to them? That's your comment. Don't overthink this. You're overthinking this right now, aren't you? Just stop. I guarantee if you do these steps in order, you're going to start to see a few things happen on your LinkedIn. First, your profile views will increase. That's pretty exciting to see that trend line start increasing. It will spike. Second, you will start to get more invitations to connect. Being active on LinkedIn will jumpstart inbound invitations. Keep in mind that one of these new connections might be a referral to your next dream job. So don't be quite as picky as you used to be about accepting invitations. You never know. Third, you will gain more confidence about how other people are using LinkedIn. You'll start to become aware of the fact that LinkedIn is not a job search site, it's a professional networking site. Wait, where have you heard this before? It sounds so familiar. Fourth, you might get an inkling to post yourself on LinkedIn. If so, my work here is done, and it's time to give me a review on Amazon and tell someone else to download this audiobook. But seriously, posting on LinkedIn is a good thing. All that work that you've put into reading and responding to others' posts was like a training ground for you. Anyone remember Karate Kid? Wax on, wax off. Now you're ready to start posting. 5, once a week, post on LinkedIn. If you've been following my instructions in order, this step should seem natural and comfortable. If you're still concerned that LinkedIn is a job search site, go back to step 1. And this time, really read the steps and follow the actions I recommend. Don't just skim. Aha! Caught you, didn't I? By reading and observing from others, you should have a good sense of what works and what doesn't work. You're not posting to tell your network that you're searching for a new position. Instead, you're posting to share insights, observations, inspiration, articles, news, or other information that others might find interesting. The goal here is to simply start posting so you can increase visibility for yourself. Now, hopefully these tips have made you feel like you've earned a highly coveted stealth mode badge on LinkedIn, and these strategies help you to find that next dream job. As a side note, I'm a big believer in positive thinking. And if you envision yourself landing your next dream job, I believe your mind will find a way to make it happen. You have to open your heart and mind to the possibilities and the potential in your everyday life. It's like buying a used car. You never notice them until one day when you start to think about buying another car because your current car needs more repairs and is giving you concern. Then suddenly, you start to see used cars in parking lots. You see cars with for sale signs while stopped in traffic. You start to notice Facebook ads for cars. And you start to hear conversations about people who are considering selling their cars. Once your mind is open to an idea, you will start to notice what has been there all along. Once your mind is open to an idea, you will start to notice what has been there all along. The same is true with LinkedIn. You can leverage LinkedIn as a job search tool while working and minimize the visibility of your job search while maximizing your visibility as a LinkedIn user. When you hear from connections, "Wow, Mavita, I'm seeing your LinkedIn posts every day. You post amazing nonprofit tips," then you know it's working. When someone from your marketing or sales team compliments you on your LinkedIn activity at the beginning of a work meeting, you know it's working. Especially when they suggest to other employees to look at your profile as an example of a LinkedIn super user. And you can totally take the credit for this. You don't even need to tell them it was my idea. Just like Dorothy in her ruby red slippers, the power was there all along. You just need to believe it and take control. Did Annie M bake pie in the Wizard of Oz movie? I'm sure she did, and it was apple or cherry or something homemade and delicious. A message from my connection, Adam McKee Miller, is this: Olalaberry pie, hands down my favorite pie. That's all I wanted for my birthday growing up, and I loved it every time. And yes, I still have it for my birthday each year.